I'm Christina, and I have an antique booth at Plaza Antiques and Collectibles Mall in Lincoln Park, Michigan, and it is officially spring. Okay, well, in Michigan, it's still like 30 degrees and lower on some days. In fact, we're still getting snow, but as far as I'm concerned, it is spring. And the reason I say this is because the church rummage sales have begun. I visited my very first church rummage sale for the season, and I'm going to take you along and show you what I found. I headed down to Erie, Michigan for the first church rummage sale of the season, at least the first one I heard about. And I was crazy excited. It was a beautiful church in a really rural setting, and there was a line outside. So I was anxious to see what I could find. Obviously had my bags and I was ready to go. My daughter also joined me. Good news is there were a lot of items. You really, though, had to look because there was so much to see. I also have to do like a huge shout out. Everything was so well organized, even the clothing section. Everywhere I looked, it was grouped together really nicely, well tagged, and there were amazing prices. I'm sure even as you're watching this, you're going to see a lot of stuff I probably should have picked up. If you're looking for home goods too for your own house or just, normal things that you need for everyday life, there was a ton of that. I was trying to stay on mission, and I was trying to find vintage items that I would be restocking my booth with. And literally this was the first rummage sale, so this is the first time that I'm seeing prices so low. It was extremely busy, so trying to get pictures here was a little tricky. There were a lot of buttons and containers. Those were fun, and there was just stuff to see everywhere. I always feel overwhelmed and panicked on days like this. Now, there was a box of frames, and vintage frames sell well for me. I also use them for crafts, so those are some of the items I did take home with me. Stay tuned to the end to see what else I brought home. You really had to look, but luckily things were organized by group. This is where I spotted the vintage Christmas, and looking back, I'm still shocked I actually found it in this because there were so many good items. There was a beautiful set of depression glass for $20 for the set. There was also a cake stand. There were a lot of items for the kitchen, but there really was not a lot of home decor as far as pictures or furniture. Usually sales have a ton. The bed was the only thing here. But don't worry, stay tuned to the end. You're going to see a whole bunch of furniture that I picked up the same day. The car was loaded up with all of my treasures, and boy, anyone else love IKEA bags? They are so great for this. My daughter brought me 2 little items that she found as a surprise. You're not going to believe what she paid for these. I want to also mention that I met one of you while I was at the church rummage sale. It's always a nice surprise to run into some of my viewers in person. So that was a lot of fun. My daughter was teasing me because, hey, I'm a real person. And so if I'm going to an early morning church rummage sale, like an hour away from my house, I don't get all dolled up. So if you see me in person, just be forewarned. But it was a lot of fun, and I'm dying to show you all of the things I found. So let's take a look. So I didn't find a ton of stuff at the church rummage sale, but the prices were absolutely amazing, and I was so excited to find vintage Christmas. As you know, I say it over and over again, it's getting harder and harder to find, and it's really like the holy grail for me. I really like to have true vintage Christmas in my booth at Christmas time, so I'm always on the hunt. Now, as you could tell from the video, the church rummage sale only had one piece of furniture, and that was that bed. Luckily, I was not looking for furniture because later in the day, one of the members of my junk army had alerted me that they had a whole bunch of furniture that they wanted to part with. So I just want to show you some of the cool things that I did pick up. And here's what my car looked like with the furniture added. One of my favorite things is saving old things and finding them new homes. Here they are in my garage. I'm going to point out the items that I just got. Obviously, there's a lot of other cool stuff in here too. There were 2 trunks in the haul. This is one of them. Although it has wear, it still has a lot of life left. It also has like the shelf inside, which is really cool. I'm always picking up trunks. They are very popular. Some people like to redo them and they're great for storage. This trunk was already added to my booth. It is a really pretty like yellow cream color. There's no shelf inside, but it's in great shape and is on casters. I also got 2 smaller dressers. This is one of them, and don't worry, the knob is inside of the drawer. And of course, I was swooning over the details and the legs on this piece. These just need to be cleaned up and added right to my booth, waiting on slightly warmer weather. This is the other dresser I found. It's also smaller scale. I love the hardware on it so much. And of course it had great legs, so this will be a beautiful piece to bring into my booth. I also got an end table that had been painted and seen better days, so it was the perfect candidate for a makeover. I painted it using Veranda Cottage Color all-in-one paint, and then I added a paint inlay. If you want more information on how to add a paint inlay, I will put a link to a previous video I did, but I'm loving how this piece has turned out, and it's already in my booth available for sale. All of those items and the furniture will be heading to my booth. Christmas items won't be going until Christmas time though. Thank you so much for watching. Now get out there to salvage, repurpose, and create.